So it's the perfect segue, Snow. Why does Illinois suck?
They just, up until really the Michigan game, I felt something was missing with them. They, for whatever reason, it was like, okay, this team's really good, but they haven't played an A game all year. Are they going to be able to keep that switch flipped? And that's hard to do this time of year. I think they're a legit national title contender, but man, there was about 20, 25 games in there where you just were wanting a little bit more. And then Kofi stay out of foul trouble? Because it totally changes when they go to Georgi Bahanashvili, because then teams are switching them a little bit more, and Georgie can't punish them on that. And that takes away a lot of what Brad likes to do offensively with Io and Trent Frazier and those guys. And then do we, even though his numbers are good, do we trust DeMonte Williams to make shots in March?
You would hope so, but I don't think that you really can. At least not entirely. What's he shooting on the year? He's 28 for Phil. He's shooting 28 for 52.
This year he's been great.
Yes.
Career numbers. Yeah.
Day, how you feel?
I talked about it a little bit about Illinois being great in transition, and like we talked about before, where teams early on when they were having trouble kept Io from going right, sent them left, and they got back in transition defense, and it kind of jammed Illinois up from, getting the rest of their team involved. Io still got his numbers, and even Kofi will still get his numbers, but the rest of those guys won't get their numbers. I feel like Io is great in transition. He finds his teammates better. He's a little bit more aggressive in transition. But when those teams started, sending him left and not letting him go downhill right hand, and it kind of affected him a little bit in the half-court basketball sense. Can Kofi make free throws and stay out of foul trouble, like Brian's brought up? I don't know. That's another thing that hurts them. Which was interesting was watching them with Io, obviously, and then we all talked about Curbelo being able, can he be mature enough to not go OC and do too much, make crazy passes, over dribble, things like that. So we see him do that when Io's there, and then when Io's gone, the team looks good. So now my question is, how does that fit when he comes back? Because he will be back. And are we going to get the same Illinois where, if the team sticks to the scouting report and keeps them from going downhill right, are they back in their same stagnant half-court offense where they don't get as much as they get out of everybody? Is everybody just standing still? Or are we going to get the guys we saw win the next 3 games and blow Michigan out of the water? I just wonder what it looks like as a whole, because we see what it looks like in this small piece right now. And we saw what it was looking like. Michigan State was going to win that game either way, to me, with Io there, obviously. So I don't.
I want to ask you something, because I was a terrible player. Rob was just a bad one. You were actually good. When you lose a good player or your best player, and then you try to bring them back into the mix, even a few weeks later, how long does it take for everybody else on the court who, went from Robin to Batman to go back down to the Robin role?
It depends on the maturity of the team. I've seen it numerous ways where guys are cool to get back, almost you would say the back seat. They would be fine to take the back seat and get back into the groove of how things were. And then some people are they refuse to. They're going to refuse to I showed you what I can do, and they want to continue. So it just really depends on the team. I feel like these guys it'll be immature to be ignorant and not, this is the player of the year, basically. The player of the year is coming back. You're going to get the player of the year back. Now, how well they play, can they be mature enough to say, all right, well, I'm not starting anymore. I don't have the ball in my hands completely like I did before, but I can go out there and still be just as effective. That's more of a maturity thing and a focus thing. So I honestly think the way the team looks, they seem like they're a very tight-knit team. So, and they play well together. I haven't seen a Texas moment where these guys are at each other's necks on live television or anything like that. They seem like a pretty good team. It seems like he's really tight with all these guys. They can hug it up when things are tough. They can talk to each other, be angry with each other, angry with the coach, and then still be fine to go out there and win games, lose games. They do it together. So I don't really think it'll be too difficult for Illinois to come back and string it together. And not to mention, Iowa's sitting there watching this, cheering it on, so he sees what they're doing. So I don't expect him to come in and go, my show. Like, I feel like he can let that come to himself naturally. He can let that part of the game come to him naturally.
Yeah, and it does kind of feel like one thing that Iowa's done throughout the year is wait a little bit before he goes into takeover mode, right? Like, it feels like he has slow first halves and then huge second halves down the stretch. So I think, to your point, Day, that makes sense. There's two other things I just want to mention real quick, and then we can move on. Kofi moving his feet on the perimeter, never a comfortable thing. Kofi making foul shots, I think, is a major concern considering how often he's going to be getting to the line. And then again, it's just I've made this point a bunch, but like, they have small guards, right? Like, their best five is probably 2 5'11" guards with Adam Miller or DeMonte Williams, and then Ayo Dosunmu at essentially the 4, which is a very small team. So that's something that just concerns me as well. But I think all of that stuff is can be mitigated, but it's definitely red flags and things that I think can be exploited by certain teams in certain matchups,